Boom! What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in to the podcast, the Max Van Auken Podcast. The numbers have been terrific. And if you're listening on YouTube, please subscribe, leave a comment, give it a thumbs up. I appreciate what you guys are doing. And I'm always going to start off by saying thank you because I like to get treated how people treat me. I like to treat others the way I'm treated, and vice versa. And you guys, the way you're listening is amazing. So thank you. I'm always going to say thank you. I'm extremely grateful, so thank you. But I am really excited for this episode. Really excited. I have a really good start to this one. So peanut butter and jelly. I'm a peanut butter guy, but nobody's ever just offered me peanut butter because it's just people assume peanut butter and jelly. It's like spaghetti and meatballs. Cereal, you think milk with it. That's what the Lakers and the Celtics are. They're just always linked together. Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, you got the Paul Pierce. You just think Lakers Celtics. They're connected. They're one. Now, you may hate one and love the other or vice versa, but they're connected somehow. They're connected again, and I don't think anybody's realizing it. So the last team in modern era to win a championship, keyword is win a championship, but didn't make the playoffs the year prior, was the Boston Celtics that I could think of. The Lakers didn't make the playoffs last year, and they are the favorites to win the title. Now think about that for a second. Well, Max, the Miami Heat, when LeBron went to Miami, they didn't make the playoffs, and they didn't win. They lost to Dallas. Okay, Max, okay. When LeBron James went to Cleveland, they were the worst team. LeBron James, Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, they lost to the Golden State Warriors. This guy's onto something. Okay, the Golden State Warriors, they came out of nowhere. They actually made the playoffs and lost to the Clippers before they emerged as a dynasty. The Detroit Bad Boys, they caught everybody. No, they made the playoffs before that year. The 2008 Celtics. That's who the team in modern era that didn't make the playoffs the year prior and won a championship. And now the Lakers are the favorite to win the championship next year because Anthony Davis will become a Los Angeles Laker. And I'm assuming if the Lakers don't trade the whole farm, which I do have some faith in Rob Pelinka that he doesn't do that. I just think that's common sense, right? That he doesn't trade the whole farm and he's either able to keep Kyle Kuzma or Brandon Ingram. I prefer Kuzma over Ingram, especially after last year and Ingram's health issues. So you are assuming he keeps a young player with Anthony Davis, with LeBron James. But Max, that roster, the big three in Boston, well, let's talk about it. Of course, there's a lot of interchangeable parts with the Los Angeles Lakers, a lot of one-year contracts. But from what we assume what will be the main core of the roster is LeBron, AD, and a young guy. Probably Kuzma, because I think they put ball on the market. Let's look at that. So we have Paul Pierce with the leading scorer for Boston. LeBron James averages more, of course. Paul Pierce averaged 19 points per game. I'm not trying to get too analytical here, but these are the comparisons. LeBron will average 25 or more. Oh, another similarity. So we have Kevin Garnett, who's tired of losing. He was in a smaller market, Minnesota, dominant big, MVP candidate. MVP? I want to win a championship. I want to go to a major market. Anthony Davis, tired of missing the playoffs. MVP candidate, dominant big. I want to go to a major market, and I want to compete for a championship. He'll average more than 18 points per game. Okay, but Max, Ray Allen is one of the greatest shooters of all time. No argument there. I love Ray. He averaged 17 points per game on that Big Three championship. 17. How many did Kyle Kuzma average last year? 18 points per game. But Max, okay, now Rondo did play a key role in that championship team. Who plays like Rondo? I don't know, maybe Rajon Rondo, who's expected to rejoin the Lakers? And now he may not be prime Rondo, but we all know playoff Rondo is deadly. He is deadly. Lockdown defender, perimeter defender, great facilitator, tons of experience, championship DNA. And yeah, he could be hard to coach, but when he has someone who has a higher IQ than him, which is extremely rare, LeBron James, he respects it. He embraces that role. Let me help LeBron. So we're looking at a team who didn't make the playoffs. Now, they have differences in front office, right? Danny Ainge isn't a risk taker. He wants to win every deal. Definitely works behind the scenes, not as loud, not as flamboyant. He wants to do things properly, more businesslike. The Lakers are more flamboyant. They're flashy, tons of drama. different business models. I myself prefer quiet, get the job done, but the Lakers brand is LA. It's Los Angeles. It's craziness. It's star players, star celebrities, actors, actresses, athletes. Everyone goes to LA. So it's different brands, different business models, but the same concept. A major market, a team that has a rich history, and a team that didn't make the playoffs prior could win the championship this year. So the Los Angeles Lakers could be the 2008 Boston Celtics, where you have a team that didn't make the playoffs and they win a championship. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and a Kyle Kuzma or Brandon Ingram. Think about that for a second. Miami didn't win that. Miami didn't do that. They didn't win the championship the year LeBron went. Cleveland didn't do that. They didn't win the championship right away. They went to the finals. They didn't win it. Golden State didn't win it overnight. They lost to the Clippers the year before. Dallas Mavericks. They lost to the San Antonio Spurs the year before in the playoffs. The San Antonio Spurs. Come on now, even you know that's not an argument. They always make the playoffs. It's interesting that this team is yet linked again with the Boston Celtics. It's just a part of the NBA history. It's a part of the basketball culture that may never change. And with a major market that attracts free agents, with a rich history, a good city, they will be linked together forever. But now we could be seeing the Los Angeles Lakers version of the Boston Celtics in 2008, where you have a group of guys assembled that didn't make the playoffs the year before, but when they assembled, they won a championship the next year. It's interesting, and I think they can do it. I think the Los Angeles Lakers could win a title next year. We see with the NBA Finals, I'm recording right after the Toronto Raptors won, so congratulations to them. But we saw what happened. It's extremely unfortunate. I said Klay's going to have a great game. One of those games where you say, I tweeted it out, damn, Klay is great. One of those games. And he had 30 points. And then unfortunately he tore his ACL. So he's expected to miss the majority of next season. We also have Kevin Durant, who's missing all of next season. Torn Achilles. Boogie Cousins is still not Boogie. He may never be Boogie again because of his torn Achilles. And he's a big man. Typically, the bigger you are, the better you don't get better over time with your injuries. It typically keeps getting worse, or it never progresses, never gets better. I'm telling you, they're more vulnerable than ever. There's going to be more parity than ever. The Houston Rockets. James Harden hasn't proven to me that he can succeed in the postseason, because his style of play it's fascinating, it's different, it's analytically sound, but it hasn't proven to thrive in the playoffs. Hasn't. It just hasn't. That style of play is not sustainable for success. Well, look at Kawhi Leonard. Look what he did. Completely different. He's not ball dominant. He's more efficient, and he plays within the system. Now, he takes over games, but he does it strategically. He doesn't dribble the ball 1,000 times every game. So then you think of the West, and I even said it this year, Russell Westbrook was going to regress this year. And because the way he plays, his injuries, he just attacks, all gas, no breaks. I'm going to attack the rim, I'm going to fall, I'm going to get up, I'm going to attack the rim, I'm going to fall, I'm going to get up, I want my triple doubles, I can't shoot from the three-point line, the worst shooting guard amongst those that qualify. And he did, he fell off. He averaged a triple double, yes, but he fell off. His efficiency numbers were just awful. They were dreadful. And what happened? They got out in the first round, just like I said. I love Paul George, but he can't just do it all by himself with an aging Russell Westbrook who can't shoot. Denver. I like Denver. But would you really pick that young group of guys over LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and an improving Kyle Kuzma? I wouldn't. The Portland Trail Blazers. I love them. I love their style of play. I'm not picking just Dame and CJ McCollum over LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I'm not. Because I still think LeBron James is the best in the world, and I think he has a lot to prove this season, and he will, and he'll be even more motivated when he knows a championship is a realistic goal. And Kyle Kuzma is only going to get better. And one thing that's so underrated is that Kyle Kuzma will have the advantage pretty much every night. He could be the Klay Thompson of the Lakers. And I'm not trying to be hyperbolic here, because he's not nearly the shooter of Klay Thompson. But what I mean by that is everybody is focused on LeBron James. Everybody will be focused on Anthony Davis. So Kyle Kuzma, night in and night out, will have the favorable matchup where he can score at will, because the number one defender is not guarding him. The team's focus their primary focus defensively won't be to stop Kyle Kuzma. It will be to stop LeBron James and Anthony Davis. So he's going to get a lot of buckets that he wouldn't get if he was the number one option. So Kyle Kuzma could have that breakout year where he's an all-star, where he's the Klay Thompson, the Golden State Warriors. That could be Kyle Kuzma, where he's going to have nights where he takes over games because he's not the primary focus. I think Klay Thompson's a better player because he's a much better defensive player, and Kyle Kuzma's still young. But I'm talking about how he'll night in and night out, he'll have the favorable matchup. He'll have the favorable matchup. Now, of course, if they play, I think Philly would match up well with them just because how long they are, and that's if Jimmy Butler stays. I'll get into that. I don't think he does. The Los Angeles Lakers and the Celtics resemble each other once again, and we will be looking at the Los Angeles Lakers as the new '08 version of the Boston Celtics, and Kyle Kuzma will have a breakout year, and I'm telling you right now, it is realistic that they win the NBA championship. I'm telling you right now, it's realistic that they win the NBA championship. Okay, I got that off my chest. Because I was thinking about it all night, and I thought about it today after the finals, and I was like, I don't remember a team when I saw the odds, and everyone knows I'm a LeBron guy, right? I'm a Laker guy, but I don't remember seeing the odds where a team that didn't make the playoffs all of a sudden are the favorites. And yeah, it obviously due to Golden State's health, that has a huge part of it, but that's just the name of the game. Vegas isn't going to not do their odds because the Golden State Warriors are injured. So it's something to think about. The Lakers will be I think they can legitimately win the title next year. And I said it since the beginning. Even when LeBron James first went to LA before the chaos, I was wrong about year one. I thought they would at least make the playoffs. I thought they were Western Conference Finals bound. But I always said they're not winning it the first year. The second year they'll win it because that's when a lot of the free agents will be attracted to them. Now, obviously Anthony Davis isn't a free agent, and I'm not sure who they can grab. I think Jimmy Butler is a strong possibility. But I also think Jimmy Butler is going to go to Brooklyn with Kyrie Irving, and I think Kyrie Irving's for sure going. And I guess that's a great transition to Kyrie Irving. So we talked about LeBron James. And we all remember Kyrie Irving. When we thought Kyrie Irving, I thought of the shot. I thought of Uncle Drew, but I thought of the shot. Because that was probably my favorite finals that I've experienced, that I've watched. Now, yes, I'm a young gentleman, so a lot of fellow people in the industry say, you're a young man, you don't know what it's like when you saw Chicago and when you saw Utah play and when you saw Clyde Drexler and you saw all these Hakeem the Dream. And I always respond as, hey, it's 2019. I have the access to go back and watch a lot of these games that you claim I missed, and I have. Of course, it's not the same when you're watching it live. I understand that. But I also look at it through a different lens, and I don't have bias, and I don't have the, oh my God, when I was there, it was the greatest thing ever, and I'm not accepting anything else. So I have seen those games. And to me, LeBron James and his block, that Game 7, coming back from 3-1, first time ever in the NBA Finals, to have Kyrie Irving hit that shot, that's what I thought of when I thought of Kyrie Irving. Insane handles, Uncle Drew, the shot. And now I feel like Kyrie Irving's whole narrative is changing, and he's going to go to Brooklyn, and his narrative will now change. His brand will now change to great handles, hard to play with, won't ever win by himself. And I will never discredit anyone that wants to go where they're happy, where they're from. So it's obviously 100% Kyrie Irving's decision and nobody else's. So I'm not going to say Kyrie Irving shouldn't go there. If that's what makes him happy, that's what makes him happy. Who am I to tell Kyrie Irving where to go? So I would never say that. But the one thing I will say is Kyrie Irving will change his brand by going there and just losing. And I think he will just lose there. Now, he's not going to miss the playoffs, but he's not going to go out of the East. He's not going to go out of the East, especially if Kawhi stayed, Milwaukee getting better. Boston will still be deep. Philly will still be good. And if Kevin Durant becomes a New York Knick, Kyrie Irving's brand will change right before our eyes. And it was starting to change in Boston, because in Boston, we were thinking, hey, he's getting hard to play with. Boston played really well, exceptionally well when he wasn't there. They played exceptionally well when he wasn't there. But we're like, hey, it's Kyrie Irving. You're always better when you're playing with your best player. But now if he leaves, which is a great system. Brad Stevens, Boston, winning culture, great front office. And he leaves after losing to the Milwaukee Bucks in the first round, I believe, or second round. His brand is changing right before our very eyes. Very talented, great handles, hard to play with. And he doesn't win by as the man. As the man. Now, I said I was going to get into Jimmy Butler. So I have this list, and I think it's probably going to be my final list before everything just drops, before the whole world just goes on their phone and wants the Woj bomb to happen. Because when free agency breaks, the whole world's going to go crazy. So I've done a lot of this. I've done a lot of speculation, a lot of theorizing, a lot of thinking about who's going to go where. So I think this is going to be my final mock draft here, if you want to say it. Final mock free agency landing destination. Say that 3 times fast. Okay, so we have Anthony Davis, not a free agent, but we all know he's a huge trade asset. And he's getting talked about where it feels like he's a free agent. If you just ask the average guy on the street, average gal on the street, they wouldn't say, they just know Anthony Davis is in the trade rumors. They know he's going to be on a different team. So I'm just going to throw him in there. Kyrie Irving, Jimmy Butler, Kevin Durant, DeMarcus Cousins, Klay Thompson, Kemba Walker are the main guys that I think of. Trying to make sure I'm not leaving anybody else out. Giannis. No, I'm pretty sure that's it. Well, of course, there's more people, but as far as like the big game changer guys, those are the guys I think of, right? And obviously Kawhi Leonard. Okay, so Anthony Davis will be a Laker. Like I just had my whole spiel on the Lakers. Anthony Davis will be a Laker. Kyrie Irving, Brooklyn. He's Brooklyn. And let me rewind real quick to Anthony Davis. So I know the Pelicans are saying, as of right now when I'm recording, are saying that he's not going, like they want Kuzma, that the Celtics, they want to trade him to the Celtics. These are reports, right? These are reports. Anthony Davis will become a Los Angeles Laker. I know it can get confusing, and if you're a new sports fan or if you're just listening to the podcast, just got into the NBA, not every single report reflects the truth. Obviously, I mean, that's with anything, the news. If you listen to gossip, if a friend says this, if another friend says that, not everything you hear is the truth. Anthony Davis will become a Laker. It's just a matter of when. Kyrie Irving, Brooklyn, like I said, I think that's just where he's from. It's where he wants to play. Signed with Rock Nation, which is a free agency. Not a free agency. It's an agency where he changed his agency. So that's where he's going to play. He's going to play where he's from. He's going to play with where Jay-Z is a part of Rock Nation. I'm telling you. He'll go to Brooklyn, and I think Jimmy Butler, who's the next guy, will go to Brooklyn. He's another guy that his whole narrative has changed. I looked at Jimmy Butler, and I thought the Chicago Bulls. I thought tough, defense, counted out, big shots, shows up when you need him. His whole narrative changed. And I think he probably fits with Kyrie Irving because of that shared quality that they're having. It is hard to play with. He gets buckets. It's Jimmy Buckets, but he doesn't win. Went to Minnesota. He had the chaos there with Tom Thibodeau. The players are arguing. He called them out. He said he didn't score, but he wanted to lock everybody down. They didn't win. They underachieved. I thought that team would be better than they were. They underachieved. So I think him and Kyrie Irving have a very similar narrative, and I think it's probably going to grow the more they're together in Brooklyn, because then you have you have a great backcourt, and I don't think they're going to win. So now you're going to say the same thing. 2 guys, hard to play with, very talented, didn't win by themselves as the man. Now, Jimmy Butler had success when he was with Chicago. Kyrie Irving had success when he was with LeBron, but he didn't have success as the guy. They could have made the argument. You could make the argument the Boston Celtics should have went to the finals, and a lot of people had them going to the NBA Finals, and they lost in the second round. Jimmy Butler, the Philadelphia 76ers, lost to Toronto. If he leaves them, that seemed like a good fit for him. They needed a 3-and-D guy. Now, he's not the best three-point shooter, but they needed a veteran who plays rough defense, can extend the floor, and buckets when you need him. Because Ben Simmons isn't a prolific scorer. He can't shoot a three-point shot. So you need that score. So if he leaves there, it's kind of head-scratching. You can make a lot of money. It's a good fit, and you have an opportunity to excel in the playoffs, and you leave. But again, I'm not going to judge what makes a player happy, but I'm telling you their brand and the narrative will change. Now we're going to go to Kevin Durant. Now this one's the most confusing for me. because he's arguably the best player in the world. He's going to miss next season. For me, 100% I'm staying with Golden State if I'm Kevin Durant. I'm injured. I don't want to go to New York, even if I was healthy, because for one, if I'm Kevin Durant, I'm thinking I'm done listening to the media. I listened to you people. I felt like I had something to prove, and I just torn my Achilles. He does not need to go to a chaotic franchise, and I don't care if you're a New York fan and you think they're not. They are. James Dolan is still the owner. I think Kevin Durant would be going to a chaotic franchise, and he would have to carry the load. With a torn Achilles, so he'll be out most of the season. They wouldn't make the playoffs if he didn't play. So you're going into another season, and it's your first season back after this injury, and you have to carry the load to go to the playoffs. Because they didn't get Zion Williamson, and they didn't get Kyrie Irving, and they didn't get Anthony Davis. You're going to have to carry the load with Kevin Knox to your left. Oh, and Kemba Walker's a free agent. Spoiler alert, I think he could go to New York. So Kemba Walker is your second best player compared to Curry, Clay, and Draymond. Are you kidding me? Why wouldn't you stay in Golden State? You can make more money. You have an all-time great team. So when you come back, you don't have to worry about bearing all of the load it takes to make it to the playoffs. In your first year, this is your first torn Achilles ever. One of the most serious basketball injuries you can have as an athlete, as a basketball player. That and tearing your ACL. And you want to come back to a team that you have to carry the load in the New York Knicks? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Stay in Golden State. But that being said, I think Kevin Durant goes to the New York Knicks. I just think he's very in tuned. I think he's very, what's the word? Insecure. I guess it's insecure. I love Kevin Durant as a player. I think he's a good dude, but I think he's very insecure with the narrative that's portrayed around him. I know he'll say he's not, but I think he is. Look at Kawhi Leonard. He didn't return to it when he felt like he was injured, and he didn't feel comfortable returning. He didn't return. Again, very sad, and it was terrible to see him get injured. I hope he has a great recovery, and I hope he becomes the player that he was. But he shouldn't have played that game, and I feel like him responding to people on Instagram that are criticizing him responding to people on Twitter that are criticizing him, and they're just trolls. These aren't just like NBA analysts, which he does go back at, but these are just trolls that he's responding to. I think because everyone said you joined the 73-9 Warriors, that's why you won your championships. So he feels like he has something to prove. So he has a championship in his hand, a big NBA championship, and it doesn't feel like an NBA championship because he still has something to prove. Usually an NBA championship to a player of that caliber is the validation of winning any argument. When LeBron James won his first championship in Miami, you can't say he chokes anymore in the playoffs. When LeBron James went back to Cleveland, you can't say he never won in Cleveland. When Kawhi went to Toronto, you can't say the guy doesn't win, that he was wrong, because he won the NBA championship as the guy. But for some reason, Kevin Durant does not have that feeling of satisfaction, of validation, so he's going to seek it elsewhere and prove that he can do it as the guy, which I don't think he will in New York. Okay, we're going to go down to DeMarcus Cousins. I think he stays. I think DeMarcus Cousins stays because I think he also is another guy that, hey, you have it good in Golden State. Now, I know I said their dynasty is over, but this still will be a very good team because you have Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson will come back. You still have Draymond Green. DeMarcus Cousins isn't fully healthy, and I think staying with this Warriors franchise would be best for him because he's not ready to receive all the load, and I don't think he can. And quite frankly, I don't think a lot of teams will offer him the max money to receive what it takes to carry a team by yourself. And quite frankly, he's never done it by himself. He didn't make the NBA playoffs when he was with the Kings. And they didn't make it when he was with the Pelicans because he was injured. Anthony Davis had only played. Klay Thompson. I love this guy. Absolutely love Klay Thompson. One of the most underrated players in the NBA. Tears his ACL. I had a spiel that I thought that it was a really good possibility he became a Los Angeles Laker if they didn't want to pay him. Then Kevin Durant leaves. I think he's able to make a lot of money, and he needs to recover. And I don't think he likes as a competitor, and he's clearly competitive. When he got back from the locker room, that's breathtaking. That's just sports at its finest, where he comes back and he shoots those free throws. Again, you don't like to see him injured, but he shoots those free throws when he has a torn ACL, and he makes both of them. Klay Thompson's a competitive guy, and he's a get-it guy. And I think he stays in Golden State. I think he wants something. I mean, he won't play the majority of next season, at all, if at all. But I think he's a Warrior now. I think he's a Warrior. Okay. Lastly, Kawhi Leonard. Because I already said Kemba Walker's probably a New York Knick. Kawhi Leonard. Him and Kevin Durant are the most puzzling to me that I go back and forth on. As in, I think Kevin Durant should wholeheartedly stay as a Warrior, but I think he'll become a Knick. I think Kawhi Leonard will become a Clipper. And I don't see why you leave. You can make big time money. And I spoke to an agent, and he actually said, well, the tax rate over in Toronto, I think it was like 51 or 53%. So that is a lot, and that's something that a normal guy wouldn't know. Like an agent would know, financial people would know, people close around him that are invested in that department. That's not my department, so I'm not going to act like I know state taxes and all that stuff. So I'm not going to act like I know exactly what he's making and not making if he goes to Toronto. But I do know this. He'll receive the max amount of money he can for a contract. He'll have a country behind him, a whole country in Canada, not just Toronto. We saw this fan base. He has the whole country behind him. How many players can say that? Kawhi Leonard can. LeBron James doesn't have the whole country behind him. There's tons of people who don't like LeBron. Steph Curry doesn't have the whole country behind him. There's tons of people happy to see him miss that shot to win the game. Kevin Durant doesn't have a whole lot of people. Kawhi Leonard has a country behind him, just won an NBA championship, and can receive tons of money. As a player, the three things that I've noticed that affect a player's decision to go to a destination is, one, winning. Does the guy want to win? A lot of guys don't want to win, but that's a pivotal part in an elite player on their decision. Kawhi Leonard, you just won an NBA championship. LeBron James isn't in the East, and your biggest challenge is Milwaukee, and you shut down Giannis, and you're pretty much going to have the same returning team in Toronto. Checkmate. You just won a championship. Winning, check. Money. Max contract, check. Support. Fans, players care. They may not say they care, but they care. You have the whole country behind you, check. Are you happy? And that's the one thing that I think is what will make Kawhi Leonard leave, if that's the case. Is he just wants to be in LA. He just wants to be happy. He just wants to be happy. And he's not very verbal, so we don't really know what makes him happy and what not. I think winning a championship makes him pretty happy. I saw him dance for the first time. And because he's such a quiet guy, he kept to himself. Great dude. Like, he was like celebrating and dancing. And that's like the first time I've seen him smile and like dance and have fun. So, I mean, that's pretty happy to win NBA championships. But I think that's the one thing that could be the lead cause of him leaving, is he just isn't happy there. He would be happy in LA as a Clipper. And there's my last free agency mock draft, landing spot, however you want to word it. Okay. One last thing I want to talk to you guys. Here we go. The Pelicans will draft Zion Williamson, right? We all know Zion Williamson is the number 1 overall pick. My guy Rashad likes John Morant. I also think Cam Reddish will be better than RJ Barrett. So there's a lot of different unique takes amongst the draft. I'm a Zion guy. I disagree with Rashad here. I think John Morant will be spectacular. Zion Williamson is the guy in the draft. Once-in-a-lifetime guy. Zion Williamson will become a New Orleans Pelicans. AD will leave. So what will the Pelicans receive in the trade from LA? Now, I know they want 3 teams involved, but let's just say they were, for argument's sake, and it is likely, they get Ingram, Ball, Hart, and the 4th pick with Zion Williamson, and they already have Drew Holiday on the roster. That alone, because I'm a fan of Brandon Ingram. I almost said love. I shouldn't say love. I'm a fan of Brandon Ingram. I think he averaged 17 points per game last year too, 17 or 18. And he's a young, versatile defender, very long, can shoot the 3, can finish at the rim, he can pass, plays point guard at times. Lonzo Ball, I think, would be amazing with Zion Williamson. Not a ball-dominant point guard, but loves to push the ball up the floor. These tap passes are perfect for Zion Williamson. The tons of lobs that they would receive together, Zion Williamson and Lonzo Ball is a match made in heaven, and it's just pure beauty on the basketball court. They would be a dynamic duo with Brandon Ingram on the wing and a great perimeter defender in Drew Holiday. And he can get some buckets too. He can get some buckets, and he's a veteran. And that 4th pick. Now, that fourth pick isn't close to the third pick. Like, RJ Barrett is better than the fourth pick. But we've seen Klay Thompson. We've seen Kawhi Leonard. We've seen Kevin Durant wasn't the first pick. I know he was the second. But we've seen a lot of players fall in the draft who end up being the steal of the draft. Steph Curry, Draymond Green. So my point is, you can still get a gem with that fourth pick if you evaluate the talent correctly and get somebody that everyone else missed out on. So this Pelicans team, assuming it's Zion Williamson, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Jrue Holiday in the fourth pick, and they may make some trades, that's a playoff team. That is a playoff team, especially with Golden State deteriorating. Of course, they're a playoff team, but they're not the same, not the dynasty anymore. Portland is good. Denver's young. OKC's aging. I really like LA, obviously. They can be right in that mix to sneak into the 8th, 7th seed. I think Dallas will be pretty good, but that's a young, dynamic core who fits perfectly together and will want to run. They'll want to play for each other. And I think the pieces fit. They'll need to add some veteran shooters onto that roster to space the floor with Zion and whatnot, because Lonzo Ball's not the best perimeter shooter, but that Pelicans team can make the playoffs. And that's huge for Zion Williamson. I'm telling you, I think he's going to be the guy. I'm not saying he's LeBron James. I hate when people do that. Hate's a strong word, but I really do, because I think you're setting up the guy for failure when you compare him to arguably the greatest player of all time. I think he's going to be an all-star. I think he's going to be a game changer. He's going to move the needle for ratings. Not saying he's LeBron James, but he's that guy. He could be the face of the league in the future. So for him and his legacy to start it off by making the playoffs his rookie year and probably the best player on the roster his rookie year, that's great. That is a great start for an NBA career and a great start for a future all-star, for a future star. I'm telling you, the Pelicans can sneak into the playoffs. So keep your eyes out for the Pelicans. That's all I got for today, guys. That's all I got. I'm going to be in the studio all week, so new content's coming out. Like I said, I want to always thank you guys. Always want to thank you guys. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the numbers. If you want to find me on Twitter or Instagram, Facebook, not on Facebook as much, more of a Twitter, Instagram guy. No disrespect to Facebook. They're the number one social media platform still. But Max Van Auken. Also, please download, subscribe. If you have any questions, concerns, you want to even get on the show possibly, if you're an athlete or whatever the case may be, just reach out. I love answering your guys' questions, and I love talking about what you guys want to talk about, because you guys drive the show. I'm only going to talk about what you guys want to talk about, and you guys are loving what I'm talking about. So thank you, and peace.